Coming up ahead in this episode of Xtalks Spotlight.
Sites are busy. We know that. There's an extraordinary amount on their plates, and we are here to alleviate their burden, as best we can, so they can get on with focusing on the most important thing, which is treating their patients. I think it's important not to underestimate what seems simple is not necessarily that simple for a patient. To actually get them, to their visit, that can be the difference of them, being able to attend their visit and being able to participate in the trial or not.
Hello, and welcome to Xtalks Spotlight, illuminating insights from subject matter experts and industry thought leaders. I'm Sonia Hunt. In this episode, we're exploring a critical question. Can patient liaison services transform clinical research access?
As clinical trials grow more complex, ensuring patient access and retention has become a critical challenge. The right support services can bridge this gap, transforming how patients enroll, stay engaged, and successfully complete studies. In this Xtalks Spotlight edition, we spoke with Amy Franco, Senior Director of Patient Liaisons at Scout. Amy shared insights on how multilingual support, travel coordination, and financial assistance can help reduce barriers for both patients and trial sites. The conversation also explored how these services contribute to trial retention and adapt to different regulatory environments worldwide. Thank you for taking the time in this Spotlight interview, Amy.
Thank you so much. It is such a pleasure to be able to come on to the Xtalks platform, to share some insights from Scout with the wider industry. So thank you for having me.
So to start, can you give us a quick intro to Scout and its role in clinical trials?
We are really excited this year as Scout will actually be celebrating our 30-year anniversary in the industry, which we really do think this is a tremendous milestone. To give you just a very sort of brief introduction to Scout, we've got three main areas of our business. We've got Scout Meetings, which is arranging all aspects of clinical meetings, investigator meetings, advisory boards, both in person and virtual. We've got our Scout Academy, and this is a centralized platform for compliance management, clinical trial training and certification. And we also have, of course, our Scout Clinical area, which is my area, where we manage all aspects of travel and payments for patients and their caregivers. So our mission, our purpose, and what really drives our culture at Scout is to enhance the health of people. We really are dedicated to transforming clinical research by putting people first. Our corporate motto at Scout Clinical is making it easier for patients to stick with it. And that really does flow through the whole company. That really is who we are and what we do in a nutshell. We want to be there to alleviate those logistical and financial burdens for patients and doing it on a global scale. To be able to reduce those participation barriers. So clinical research really is accessible, to everyone. And at the same time, reducing those burdens on the sites. Within our Scout model, it means there's no cost to sites, there's no cost to patients. And being able to provide these services, we really are helping patients stick with it. We're helping patient retention. We're reducing, the dropout rate. And we are just really here to support patients and sites in the trial. That's our mission.
Now, could you tell us more about the patient liaison team and what makes their role so unique?
There's much I could say about our patient liaison team and the services that we provide, but I would say a simple answer is our personal touch. Our team are there supporting patients and sites. They are there on the other end of the phone. They're answering emails 24/7, 365 days a year. And I think in a world where it seems like we are, losing that personal touch, Scout and our patient liaison team are there ensuring that this is provided. Our Scout employees, they're all fully in-house. We've got a fantastic patient liaison team, a really skilled and talented team, and they come from a variety of backgrounds. We've got members from, obviously life sciences backgrounds, from medical backgrounds. We've got, EMTs, travel service, social work background, bringing together all those skills. We're really privileged to have such a great team, and they work together to provide a really outstanding service. And, in terms of those services that we provide, they're very broad. I think we can safely say there's, no challenge or, no travel scenario that we can't meet. We do offer full support. So on the coordinated travel front, for example, in advance of the visit, we can arrange all the travel that's necessary to get their patient to their visit. And this could be as, simple as a taxi from their home to the site. Although even with that, I think it's important not to underestimate what seems simple is not necessarily that simple for a patient. To actually get them, to their visit, that can be the difference of them, being able to attend their visit and being able to participate in the trial or not. So, it could be something simple, or it could be full travel services that we can provide, flights, ground, hotels, long-term accommodation. And most importantly, we can do this with no cost to the patient. We never want the financial burden to limit trial participation. And we're really proud, I think, of our place in this whole process. So we could be doing what I call sort of a simple taxi through to full-blown relocation, for a family of 6 from Brazil to the US. So also in addition to that coordinated travel piece, we've got the comprehensive reimbursement and payment support. So as I mentioned before, no one wants finances to be a barrier to patients participating in trials. We want to make trials accessible to everyone and on a global scale. So when patients do have out-of-pocket expenses, we can quickly ensure that they're reimbursed, so that burden of being out of pocket is absolutely minimized. We review all the expenses in line with what's been arranged at the outset of the study. And, we're fortunate we can offer a variety of payments to really suit all patient needs. Probably our most popular would be bank transfer. Depending on the country, we've also got our Scout Pass debit card. We can offer check as reimbursement in the US. We've got PayPal globally. So we've got a range of different offers, and we can also facilitate any type of reimbursement, assuming it's been approved in the trial, of course. But each study is unique, and it comes with different requirements and different needs. It could be that we can reimburse childcare costs, or or house sitting, lab payments, or or nappies. Of course, mention the standard, meals and mileage. So we can cover the full gambit. We can make these reimbursements to ensure that the trial is accessible to everyone, and really thereby increasing the patient retention. Of course, we can do prepayments as well. So, our patient liaison team, they manage all these logistics with a real patient-centric and personalized approach, which I think really does set us apart. And, on an individual patient basis, we keep notes of these patients. If they've got any special preferences, they've got a preferred hotel, or maybe the site has a preferred hotel that they like their patients to stay at. We can record all this. If they need wheelchair adapted transportation, we can ensure that's noted and then managed for future travel, so that there's just all around a much more smoother, and efficient travel process. So our patient liaison team, they're there. They're there for patients and sites 24/7, 365 days a year. They offer a really supportive and personalized service. And I'm really proud of the part, Scout plays in helping patients to stick with it and really advancing clinical research.
And given Scout's impressive global footprint, how do you manage the nuances of supporting patients across different countries?
Great question. And I do believe this is really where our patient liaison team shines. We really do have a global, multilingual team, and we're located across the world. We've got patient liaisons in the US, of course, in Europe, Ireland, UK, Australia, New Zealand, China, and our teams speak, many, many different languages. When sites and patients are calling Scout, they're not calling a call center. They're speaking directly with our global team. And also as a company, we've got a very extensive global regulatory expertise and experience in over 100 countries. We're equipped to address compliance globally, and we've got a wealth of experience to ensure that we can support these patients on a global scale. And it's not just the regulations, but also the country preferences. So whether it's our sort of strict adherence to MR001 in France, or the preference of the manual reimbursement process that we know that French sites and patients prefer. That to the Hungarian CEC restrictions and collecting the study assigned patient IDs. We know the country nuances, and we're equipped to provide our services within these. And I truly believe that this level of in-depth knowledge and expertise allows us to coordinate seamless trial operations worldwide. Because our team are based, they're physically based globally, we've got an intimate knowledge of the countries we serve, and we've got really strong relationships with our travel partners, and that broadens our reach even further. The team, our patient liaison team, because they live there, they know the countries. A very small example might be our patient liaisons in China, for example. They know the country, of course. They live there. They know when we've got big events coming up. Chinese New Year is a classic example. So, our team will work with sites in China to ensure that, the upcoming visits are booked well in advance, that we can make sure that we can secure the travel that's needed, during those busy times. Or, we've had strikes in France. So our local team have been able to work with the sites and work with our travel partners to ensure that, we're finding solutions to ensure our patients can still get to those, really important study visits. So, whether it's reimbursing patients in Peru or Poland, or coordinating flights and long-term accommodation, from families from Turkey to Italy, all of which we've done, of course, we're set up to provide, really extensive global travel and support service. And I do think shouldn't go unmentioned, another critical area which ensures that we can support patients globally is our technology. Our Scout portal, it's a proprietary web-based platform. It's handcrafted by Scout through our dedicated development team. Sites, patients, and even clients, they can have managed access to our portal, and our portal can be viewed and utilized in over 200 languages. So there's many different nuances to supporting patients globally, and this is absolutely an area where we excel in.
Now, when it comes to supporting patients and sites, this often involves unique and complex challenges. Can you share some examples of solutions that Scout has provided? And how does your team approach these situations to ensure successful outcomes?
We really do pride ourselves on providing solutions, and we have not been short of complex challenges, that's for sure. We have a fantastic patient navigator service that offers a bespoke level of support, particularly in areas of, for example, cross-border enrollment, logistics, and some of our more complex scenarios, have arisen under our patient navigator service. And each time, our patient liaison team have absolutely risen to the occasion. We've managed many global relocations, for the length of the study duration, both domestic and international. I mean, to name just a few, we've had families from Latin America, from Brazil, Colombia, Chile, relocating them to the US or to Europe, or, moving patients and families around within Europe. And it may not always be relocation, but it could be sort of regularly scheduled travel back and forth between countries. We've managed this all around Europe, throughout the Middle East. One particularly challenging example I can think of was a patient we had in the Middle East traveling to United Arab Emirates for regular study visits. However, this patient, they did not have any access to internet. There no email, no phone. They only spoke their local language. They did not have a passport or visa to start with. So we were able to work with the site and support this patient to make sure they could, be part of the trial and get to their visits. We were able to provide guidance on getting passports, on getting, visa for them. And, to ensure that those costs weren't a barrier, even those initial costs, we were able to provide an advance payment. So they didn't have to, bear those costs personally, of course. And then we obviously arranged their travel, their flights, their ground, their hotels. And actually, we were able to source a driver in the site city in Dubai that spoke that particular local language of this patient. So it really made the process, so much smoother, so much easier. It truly enabled that patient to be part of that trial, where otherwise they may not have been. And another situation we've had was a Croatian patient that traveled weekly to a site in Italy. So not only did we arrange the travel, but the patient didn't speak Italian. So we coordinated an in-person interpreter for each one of those study visits. We've had, there's many stories. We've had a patient and caregiver that we were relocated from Sweden to the US. And we know typically with relocations, there's often, the larger family that comes with them. In this particular case, there was a very special family member, and it was their beloved cat. So we were able to assist them, with their arrangements, not just with the flights, but even in sourcing the pet-friendly accommodation, so they could bring their cat over. So lots of stories. I'm so proud of the team and how they, how we're able to meet these needs that arise. We've got, plenty of complex scenarios domestically as well. In many of the countries we work, they're very expansive countries. Patients don't necessarily live close to an airport or a train station, and they can live quite remotely. So we need to get a little bit creative with our travel solutions sometimes. And our patient liaison team, they really approach each situation really with personalized care. We've got patients that need to travel with oxygen or other, different medical equipment. And our team work closely with the patients and with our travel partners to ensure that it's all arranged. We want to make sure that they are TSA compliant when they're on there going for their flight. We can arrange wheelchair adapted transportation or an ADA hotel room. So I do really believe that the flexibility of our options and the personalized approach that our patient liaison team bring, that's what really sets us apart. We are here to make, travelers stress-free and smooth for our patients. They're already going through enough, and as well as alleviating that burden from the sites. Whether this is a taxi in a local city, a medevac flight from one country to another, or relocating a family of 7 that have never traveled before. We're here to support them.
And to wrap up, what's on the horizon for Scout in 2025?
Well, we're always excited about the future. There's lots to come for 2025 and beyond, of course. The business is growing. We're constantly looking for ways to, expand our services and support clients and sites and patients, even in even further ways. One of our newer services, which is called Scout Coordinator, this is something that we plan to expand more in 2025. A large cancer research center located in the US reached out to us, and they were asked, how can we support them even more to a greater level to alleviate some of these administrative burdens from their sites. And, as you know, in sort of traditional clinical trial workflows, much of the responsibility of patient reimbursements, travel arrangements, the compliance-oriented logistics, they fall on the site staff. So Scout Coordinator shifts those logistical burdens from the site staff over to our team. We simplify the workflow for sites, which is obviously particularly attractive at high volume trial sites. We and we have direct contact with the patients to arrange their travel and to manage their reimbursements. So we piloted Scout Coordinator in 2024. It's grown exponentially. So we're really excited to be rolling that out wider to a broader audience and on a global scale. Sites are busy. We know that there's an extraordinary amount on their plates, and we are here to alleviate their burden, as best we can, so they can get on with focusing on the most important thing, which is treating their patients. We've also got lots of exciting technology enhancements that we're working on. I can't give too much away at this point, but they're really exciting, and suffice to say that these are all with a really strong focus on the site and the patient, making it easier for them.
Well, thank you very much, Amy, for speaking with us today. We really appreciate your time and insights.
Thank you so much. It really has been a pleasure, and very much appreciate the invitation and for being able to share some of, Scout's story.
We look forward to learning more about how Scout is enhancing patient support in clinical trials and making trial participation more accessible for patients worldwide. Thank you all for joining us for this Xtalks Spotlight feature. We hope you enjoyed the discussion.